Hello and welcome back to Rogue Trader. We have finished with Owlcat Games, which was the planet we spent an awful lot of time on, and it is time for us to go somewhere else. Now, our Voxmaster has made the suggestion that we go to see the Navis Nobilite, and the reason why we might want to do that is, one, they're not responding to messages. Now, this could be that they just don't want to respond to our Voxmaster, but it could also be that something has gone horribly wrong and they cannot respond. So, reason number one. Reason number two, we need a navigator if we ever want to leave this system, and they have navigators. Well, that seems like a good place to go. We already got our engine seer last time, as in on the last planet. We already got a bunch of crew, so this would be the last thing that's tying us here, so that would be good to get early, so that if we wanted to leave, we could leave. Not that we necessarily do, but, you know, it's something to do. Now, it was also suggested by the governor on Owlcat Games that there may be a prison breakout somewhere else. However, I cannot seem to find that anywhere. We just have some rumours, but neither of which actually seem to lead to this thing. So I think what we have with that is not a quest, not a rumour, but merely a mention. So it may be worth looking for that if we wanted to, but I think that the Navis Nobilite is the one that we want to do first. So, let's load this up. Have a look at what we have on the map and figure things out. So, this is something at the side of it which is interesting. Is that must be the name? That's a weird name. Anyway, so we have Urac 5, which is the Navis Nobilites, or the Navis Nobilite station. We have an unidentified void ship which we might want to go towards. This, which we might want to have a look at. And then Owlcat Majoris, which might be where one of these might be where the prison breakout was. I'm not entirely sure. What I'm wondering is there a reason to not scan places? Like, is there a reason not to just fly places and scan them? I mean, this we can't scan, but like, yeah, maybe we'll just fly to these two, scan them, just see what's going on, and not actually land, and then we'll head over here. That seems like a plan. Let's do that. If something horribly wrong happens, I do have a save, so it's not like it's the end of the world. Lord Captain, sorry to disturb you. Victus pauses as if listening to something. There's pandemonium outside the bridge gate. One of the officers seems to be demanding an audience with you in person. I think I hear Master Versarian's voice. In any case, I wanted to warn you in advance. Oh? Okay. Someone demands an audience with us. Okay, interesting. Wonder what could be happening there. Okay. Some internal ship politics, maybe? Who have we got? Oh, that is cool. Just the chair is very good. The everyday sounds of the bridge are disrupted by voices raised in anger. Abelard's voice loudest of all. This is not the conduct of an officer. These are the antics of a high-born brat out on a lark. Explain yourself, Lieutenant. The young woman... Oh, okay. We received a plea to assess the actions of Seneschal Versarian. Anyway. The young woman standing before Abelard strives with all her might not to quail under the onslaught of her superior's anger. She falters, but then manages to look him in the eye and say... I apologize, sir, but I must speak to the Lord Captain. Very well, Lieutenant. You may address the Lord Captain, but not least because I see you've already seen fit to disturb him. Your unauthorized appearance on the bridge and display of belligerence towards a higher-ranking officer will be logged in your personal file without delay. Lord Captain, Lieutenant Avril Vent, requesting permission to speak. Vent falls silent, then adds rashly, on a matter of extreme importance and urgency. Okay. I'm gonna go with number 2 here. You may speak, but I want to hear a report, not a shouting match. I mean, 2 officers bickering in full view of the bridge is unacceptable. I am sorry, Lord Captain. I thought drastic times called for drastic measures, Vent exclaims hotly. This matter cannot wait. Any minute now, an assault unit will be dispatched to the lower decks in order to crush the worker strike by any means necessary. But I am convinced that this step is unwarranted and that the crisis itself was provoked by the actions of one of the senior officers. Vent is almost trembling with tension as she delivers her speech, her face extremely pale. Abelard, in no hurry to intervene, lets out a skeptic, "Huh. Lord Captain, I urge you to investigate the actions of Seneschal Versarion, and to intervene in what's happened on the lower decks, because very soon we'll have a mutiny or a massacre on our hands." Vent reels off the last words as though she knows them by heart. She has clearly been preparing to say them for some time. When she is finished, she casts an anxious glance at Abelard, then at you. There's an insurrection in the making aboard my ship and no one has informed me?
I would not deem it a problem worthy of the rogue trader's attention. The lower decks, as it so happens, are in revolt. 30-some years ago, we even had a revolutionary leader rise up who dared to establish workers' rule across the entire ship. It took a month to restore order, but even 8 years later we were still battling rumors that the hero had survived his execution and was on the verge of gathering people to fight against tyranny once more.
Abelard scoffs.
Needless to say, the rumors were baseless. As for the current situation, we have sufficient enforcers to deal with it.
But on this ship, the word of the Lord Captain carries more weight than a salvo from 100 bolters. I'm sure that if the rogue trader addresses the malcontents directly, he will quell the unrest.
I dread to think what problem you will disturb the rogue trader with next. Perhaps you will ask the Lord Captain to break up the brawls in the mess room. I've already given you the means to resolve this problem. You simply need to use them.
If I may, your lordship, sending a hit squad to crush the rebellion is a means of ignoring the problem, not solving it. How did this all start? Or how did all this start? The situation could boil over at any minute, so I'll give you the condensed version. It all began when the enforcers found a cultist amulet on the body of someone who'd been killed in a drunken brawl. We reported it up the chain immediately, arranged for a cleansing rite to be performed, and opened an investigation. No heretics have been found alive, but the search has brought tensions between enforcers and workers to a head. Where does Seneschal Versarion come into all of this?
I shall explain,
Abelard intones grimly. I beg you hurry, time is running out.
I will not hurry. Since my competence is under scrutiny, I shall speak for as long as I see fit. There is an established order to the way things are done on this ship, and one of the pillars of that system is that the rogue trader's attention is not distracted by trivial matters. It is the Seneschal's role to ensure that. I've always handled internal problems myself, so of course when I received information about cultists hiding on the lower decks, I took the matter in hand. So long as I live, not one of the vermin who murdered Theodora von Valancius will find refuge on her ship.
You were far too heavy-handed, Seneschal Versarion. Arrests, interrogations, mass punishments for entire sectors has driven the people to the brink, Vent says bitterly. Now there is a strike on the lower decks, in Depot 4 to be precise. 3 worker clans are involved, but many more are passionately supporting them. The situation could degenerate into an all-out insurrection, but when I reported my concerns, the only response I received was an order to dispatch an assault unit and crush the strike with maximum force. What is Depot 4?
Depot 4 is one of the poorest sectors on the lower decks. It is home to clans of general labourers. They're not as valuable to the ship as the families who have served its specialised systems for generations. They are an easily replaceable resource. One which is now, more besides, giving succour to cultists and minions of the arch-enemy.
Depot 4 is poor and troubled, but at worst that means drunken fights and illegal rotgut brewing. We've handled the workers of Depot 4 in the past. We would have done so again if the crackdown on Depot 4 had not been so harsh. And another important point to bear in mind, the problem is not limited to this sector. It is located on one of the most populated lower decks, and everything that happens there has a knock-on effect on all the neighbouring sectors. Abelard, what do you have to say to all this?
I see no need to add anything. I acted within the remit of my authority, guided exclusively by the best interests of your protectorate and your personal safety. If you wish to confirm the rectitude of my actions for yourself, I have no objections.
For my part, I urge the Lord Captain to go down to the lower decks, stop the assault unit, and speak directly to the people. You'll see they are not lying or harbouring heretics. That way, you will stop the uprising before it begins. Okay. Interesting. Now, personally, me, not Malachi, but myself, I want to go down to the lower decks because I want to see more about the story, right? I'm assuming there's maybe going to be a twist or something. So personally, me, I want to go down to the lower decks. However, I'm not entirely sure that we should as part of Malachi. Like, I don't think that Malachi necessarily should go down to the lower decks if we're following what he wants. So, as my compromise, I think I have to say number 4. I'm certain the Seneschal was acting within his authority, but I will verify the soundness of his decisions for myself. It allows me to see what's happening down in the lower decks, but at the same time, it doesn't say I'm going down there to be all lovey-dovey and I'm going to make everything right with words, right? I think that works quite well for us. Throne preserve you, Lord Captain. I thank you for your support. Abelard grits his teeth slightly. An enterprise bordering on the sophomoric, but please yourself, Lord Captain. However, I categorically insist that I escort you. Okay, so he's unhappy as well. Yeah, sure, we'll choose our party members. This isn't suspicious at all. Not suspicious at all. That we would choose our party members going down here. Okay. Wait, we get to go and explore? Wait, is there loot down here? I mean, it is our ship, I suppose, but like, is there loot?
Keep your wits about you.
Never mind.
Hey, it's Versarian. Take that, scum.
You just threw acid at him.
Look who it is. It's his fault. All of it.
Abelard reflexively wipes the sweat from his brow in a startlingly human gesture, and a telling one, a rare moment where he allows his age and weariness to show through his armor-like veneer of self-assurance.
The lower decks are a source of endless problems. Sometimes I dearly regret that we cannot replace all the locals with servitors.
Well, did you hear they were shouting your name?
Of course they were. The organization of the daily routine life of the ship rests upon my shoulders. The mountain of challenges and problems for which I endeavour to insulate you, Lord Captain. The situation on the lower decks has been a cause for concern, and I have intervened personally on more than one occasion. That must be why they remember me. They do not know your face. To them, you are akin to a creature of legend, one who has stood on the steps of the Golden Throne, no less. Whereas I am a man whose name is attached to every order docking rations or lowering a bay's heating.
The people dared to disrespect a senior officer.
They would not have had the chance to express such disrespect if we were not here.
If the situation had been dealt with by the relevant officers. Abelard grimaces.
It is a junior officer's worst failing to pass problems up the chain of command. I have never been able to abide it. I shall say it again. It was a mistake to come here on Lieutenant Vent's whim, Lord Captain.
I must admit that the Lieutenant is by no means the worst material for an officer, Abelard adds, peevishly.
But in the name of Terra, the girl is the same age as my eldest great-granddaughter, and she has the gall to tell me how to manage the lower decks and hunt down cultists. It'll be another 20 years at least before she'll be entrusted to act without oversight.
Let's keep moving. We need to get to the bottom of this. Ooh, things to click on. Something resembling a nest made out of thermal insulation material. This must be where the workers sleep between shifts. Okay, everyone else seems kind of chill, so we're not going to speak to them. With some valves to turn off the steam.
I always keep my options open.
Well, I don't really know why I would mess with those, so I'm going to not do that. What's this? He's still saying, I do not see our purpose in coming here. Huge pipes, the arteries of the ship, run through many bays, delivering air, water, heat, and the propulsive force of steam. I'm just going to wait to see if this is a party banter one. As in, does somebody respond? Relax, old man. Going for a stroll on the lower decks every once in a while is good for you. Let you see how the simple folk live, says Adira. Okay. No loot, no loot. See, I don't see why we would do this steam puzzle when we can walk around the outside. There must be a reason for it, but I don't see why we would do that. That's fine. So there's Avril Vent and the squad commander. Okay. The sounds of a heated discussion reverberate through the ship's bays. Lieutenant Avril Vent of the ship's enforcers is barring the path of a heavily built assault unit officer, and judging by their expressions and tone, the standoff has dragged on for some time already and has now reached a boiling point. I have my orders to put an end to the unrest and purge this sector. You can take your orders and shove them. This is my deck and my sector. There are only 3 people who can waltz in here without my express permission. The first officer, the rogue trader, and the Emperor himself. So not all my lessons fall on deaf ears, Abelard mutters in crabby approval. He does not clarify whether he means Lieutenant Vent, the officer looming over her, or both. Okay. I think he's meaning Vent here, as in he's meaning that he has told her what her responsibilities are, and she has understood them, as in that this is her sector and her responsibility. Your Lordship, noticing you, the 2 junior officers snap to attention and salute, their subordinates following suit a moment later. What's the situation? Your Lordship, my people have locked down the bay where the strikers are, including their leaders. We have the situation under control as far as resources allow. We encountered some locals on the way here. Their conduct was outrageous. They even tried to throw things at us. Vent pales slightly. The people are getting desperate, clearly. They saw the assault unit and decided they had nothing left to lose. I mean, I apologize, Lord Captain. It is outrageous. I'm sure the people simply didn't recognize you, or wouldn't have occurred otherwise. We will deal with them once the current situation is resolved. Is that all you have to say? Are you sure you're worthy of an officer's rank, Lieutenant Vent? Vent pales slightly, but straightens up and clips out. Forgive me, Lord Captain. I will take steps to ensure such a thing does not happen again. Okay, I'll speak to the strikers. Abelard's mouth twists, but he restrains himself and says nothing. Right you are, Lord Captain. Allow me to wish you good luck. Hope gleams in Lieutenant Vent's eyes. Okay, is this where the strike... Whoa, they're off. Okay. Let's do a save. So this must be the elevator they came down on. That's fine. So we will head this way and speak to the strikers.
I'll get left in the dust.
A dozen pairs of eyes stare apprehensively at you. The people before you are typical inhabitants of the lower decks. You take in their simple clothing, crude weapons, and faces that display varying levels of mutation, from the barely discernible to the strange to the outright grotesque. A whisper passes through the crowd and you detect a mixture of fear, astonishment, and joy in their reactions. Finally, 3 people break away from the crowd, an elderly woman and 2 men. These must be the leaders. They bow clumsily before you. Lord Captain, you have come down to us. Let's see what we're going to say. We were attacked on the way here. How do you explain that? Here's an explanation for you. The people have been pushed to the limit, and now they're lashing out. As if we don't know why these top deck units are being sent down here, like that one that the lieutenant won't let past. Our clans are all inside the bay that's been sealed off. The lower decks are big. I'm sure there are some people who've had just about enough. We're getting it from all sides. The soldiers have encircled the ones who've risen up. A death squad has just arrived. It's no wonder folks are lashing out. The words seem sincere to you. The body language and glances traded between them reveal that the news of the attack has shocked them. Tell me what's troubling you. Why are you striking?
Striking? That's news to us, your lordship, says the tall, thin man in worker's garb. All we're doing is asking questions, saying what we think.
Shut up, Rivet. Snaps the old woman, who turns her hostile dark eyes on you. Here's the deal, your lordship. Your damned enforcers are all over us down here. They say they're looking for cultists. One wrong word and they're reaching for their batons. If they want to punish someone, they turn off the heating to the whole bay for weeks at a time, so we get sick and freeze. In my clan, 2 little ones died from inflammation in their lungs, all because of those enforcers. The old woman spits on the floor and rubs at the spittle with the toe of her worn-out shoe. Argenta does not interrupt the workers, but you see sadness well in her eyes when the children's death are mentioned. She quietly whispers a requiem prayer and makes a sign over herself.
It's all true. Vent is the only enforcer officer who stood up for us. It's clear as day who had a mother from the lower decks and who grew up amid ships and has no fellow feeling toward us. The grim man with a scarred face throws up his arms. Your lordship, we're no villains here. We're honest workers, your servants. We've plotted no disorder. We went on strike openly, and now we've got guns pointed at us. All we're doing is asking to be allowed to work in peace without being harassed.
The persecution started apropos of nothing, you say. I was told one of you was found in possession of a cultist amulet and that there were heretics hiding here.
The cultist amulet? What's that? The gewgaw they found on the dead drunkard. If it was something evil or forbidden, we sure didn't know.
The enforcers just said they were looking for heretics among us, and anyone obstructing their investigation would be punished.
How could there be heretics here? We know our own people, and there'd be no new faces around.
Definitely not. And if there were, we'd be the first to report them. And as for this amulet or whatever it is, they took it off a dead body. There are no cultists still breathing in our sector, that's for sure. When the fight broke out, some enterprising folks looted the bodies. The boots they came back with, nobody's ever tread these decks in boots so fine, I can tell you that. Seems to me these cultists have better commanders than us. Oh yeah, the boots really were fine, and there was no harm in taking them, right? As for the amulet, it must have been pocketed by someone who didn't know any better. We don't need any amulets around here. We all worship the Emperor, and when we're working, we bow down before the machine spirits of the large and small transformers and the servo motors, the same way my grandfather was taught 100 years ago by a tech priest who came calling. Believe us, your lordship, we are people of faith. I confirm the information regarding the proper treatment of, or proper tending of the machine spirits in the sector. Servitors indicate that these commoners are performing the sacraments they are permitted to know. Naive children, weren't you taught from an early age about the dangers of the arch-enemy's creations? Weren't you warned that any unfamiliar object could be one of them? We were told, Holy Sister, but it was long ago. The last time we saw a confessor in our sector, it was just after I'd had my 3rd little one. That is regrettable, but you cannot lay the burden of leading a righteous life on the shoulders of the Holy Fathers. Who will you blame when the beasts crawl out of those amulets you stole from the heretics? The Holy Father who was not there, or the scavenger who brought evil down on himself and his neighbours? Abelard, anything to add?
I authorize the use of all necessary measures to locate Chaos worshippers hiding in this sector. The specific steps taken by the officers were not reported to me.
Abelard frowns, clearly disgruntled at having to explain himself in the workers' presence.
Nevertheless, I am certain their actions were justified. Cultists are no drunken stevedores. They are the enemy and a threat to the ship. Neutralizing them demands decisive action.
Okay, what changes do you want?
Would you look at this, the exalted Lord Captain himself, asking us build rats what we want? Well, here's what we want. We want you to rein in your damned enforcers, to quit turning off the heat, and to stop battering everything that moves. No, that's not it. We want the enforcers gone from here, and we want to be armed.
Give us arms and we'll govern ourselves. We'll defend ourselves if these cultists do show their faces. I've been leader of my clan for 20 years now. Getting rid of these club-wielding thugs can only improve things around here. You've gone too far, old Nan. They'll never let the maggots in the lower decks live without the enforcers breathing down their necks. They'll probably even insist on enforcers on the upper decks too. As for weapons, what do we need them for? Before the day's out, we'll have someone shooting their neighbour out of stupidity or drunkenness. We don't need that. If the enforcers stop harassing us, that'll be enough. In return, we'll find the scavengers who robbed the cultist bodies and we'll talk to them, one lower deck to another. If there are any more of these damned amulets about, we'll hand them over to the enforcers ourselves. You speak for yourself and your clan, and I'll speak for me and mine. I don't want empty gestures, I want real change. They'll promise us the world now, but as soon as the anointed one turns his back, those brutes will be on us even harder than before, all because we dared to speak out. The worker's eyes dart between the two arguing leaders. Every few seconds he opens his mouth as if planning to agree, but each time he falls silent, simply making a few vague noises of approval. Okay. Thoughts, Abelard?
The story about going scavenging for boots and accidentally picking up a heretical amulet doesn't convince me. These people were moments away from rebelling and, possibly, becoming minions of the archenemy. Must not give them what they want. Even if they did acquire something innocently, purely out of their own stupidity, that does not mean they are not tainted with corruption. What begins as petty thievery can turn into a far graver problem. I've seen it before.
Abelard's face darkens momentarily.
In my second war, there was a sergeant in the Imperial Guard regiment who was stationed nearby. The sergeant took an ordinary pocket knife from the body of a heretic, and his whole unit lost their lives for it. When they finally managed to break into the barracks, they found not a single survivor, only the pocket knife, which had grown through all the rows of beds like a metal-choking vine. So when it comes to scavengers, malcontents, strikers, or whatever they'll turn into next, my verdict is simple. Give them no quarter.
Okay. So, we can use coercion to say spreading anarchy on the ship is the first step towards embracing chaos. Putting weapons in untrained hands would be even worse. What's more, the enforcers are needed to maintain oversight and order. Withdraw those demands and we'll consider the rest. We will withdraw the enforcers, not doing that, or you fail to convince me of your trustworthiness. This unrest ends now. I think I'm going to go with coercion. I think that fits what we've been going with so far. And it only says consider the rest. Now coercion, we have a 90% on. Let's go. Spreading anarchy on the ship is the first step towards embracing chaos. Putting weapons in untrained hands would be even worse. What's more, enforcers are needed to maintain oversight and order. Withdraw those demands and we'll consider the rest. The tall worker they call Rivet shrugs and casts a sidelong look at the old woman. Old Nan, listen. Lord Captain himself has come down to us and offered us concessions. Is offering concessions. I don't know a single person in the whole of Depot 4 has ever stood next to the rogue trader, let alone talk to them. Back down, now's not the time for you to be a stubborn old crone. Listen to us, old Nan. The three clans of Depot 4 ought to act as one. We've made our minds up. It's your turn to decide. Don't ask them to disband the enforcers or give us weapons. We don't need any of that. The old woman hisses in dissatisfaction. You two are ganging up on me, is that it? So brave you are against an old woman, but I'll shut up. I will indeed. I won't go against two clan leaders of my own. If you wish to make peace with the enforcers, make your peace. It's great. Just fantastic. Lord Captain, we've all agreed. Then it's decided. The persecution will stop and I will expect you to assist in locating any remaining amulets or weapons left by the cultists. Your lordship, thank you. You've not abandoned us lower deckers. You came down yourself and settled everything. I'll tell my grandchildren about this. Of course, your lordship. We'll root out any nasty business faster than the enforcers, and we'll leave no stone unturned. This is complete bedlam. Are you satisfied, Lord Captain? Then may I suggest we leave this circus and discuss everything en route, says Abelard. We're not leaving the circus, Abelard. The circus may have loot. Have you not considered that?
Always keep
There
your
may be
eye on
loot
the
here. There's
prize.
also tons of valves that we could
We should
spin.
deal with this.
Because we could. A manometer check. The gauge shows that the steam pressure in this pipe is close to maximum. However, it does not reach the bars at the other end. The page where the start of each shift is marked. Last mark is missing. The workers went on strike. Good. There is loot here. Aha. Lovely. Worth it. There's more valves. Or I
Is there money
still
to
don't
be
understand
made?
why I would spin the valves. That's the thing I don't understand yet. Like, what's the purpose of it? Right? I mean, I know we can, but I don't know why we would.
Let us not dawdle.
It's like it's just giving us something to click because we could. Alright, I'm going to click it. What did that do?
I
Oh,
always
maybe
have a
this
backup
explodes
plan.
this area. I just realized maybe this explodes this area and kills all the workers. Oh yeah, yeah, maybe something like that. I did
always
just quick
keep
save,
my
right?
options open.
Just did it again, just to be sure. Okay. I don't really want to spin the valve. What was this? The heat sink warms the area around it to a scorching temperature. This is the warmest part of the bay. The workers have even dragged deck chairs here.
Keep your wits about
Okay.
you.
Yeah, no, I don't really feel like I need to spin all these things. So we could turn the steam off. See, I was thinking we could turn the steam off there and it turns the steam on in there, maybe. But I don't think that that's really what we want to
Is there
do.
money to be made?
Yeah, I don't see a reason to do that. Yeah, I don't see a reason why we would do that. So I'm not going to. Stopping unexpectedly, Abelard imperiously dismisses the unit to stand at a distance and addresses your other companion, saying, "I have an urgent matter to discuss with the Lord Captain. Please give us a moment." Abelard looks at you, and his last vestiges of restraint vanish. "Well, are you pleased with your investigation, Lord Captain?" You kowtowed to the disloyal rabble. You believed their lies and showed them leniency. Next time the ship is attacked by cultists, that rabble will welcome them in with open arms and allow them to wreak whatever havoc they like, because they see you as a weak leader. Is that how you see your future at the helm of the von Valancius Protectorate? Do not speak to your Lord Captain in that tone. I'm obliged to speak thus. Who else can point out your errors and offer you counsel? Let's see what we're gonna say. Let's talk about your role in this instead. You allowed this revolt to happen. Your actions practically guaranteed it would. I would have handled the situation myself had you not decided to intervene, Abelard says irascibly. Remember Lord Captain Theodora. Do you think she ever set one slippered foot on the lower decks? No, she did not. Such matters were left to myself and the junior officers while she dedicated herself to the grand designs for the Protectorate. Any true strategist and rogue trader ought. Okay. Let's see what we're gonna go for here. I would be only too willing to trust my seneschal, not fill my head with such matters, but the situation had spiraled out of your control, Abelard. Maybe if Theodora had spent more time on trifling matters, she wouldn't have wound up dead. I don't think we're going to say that, because I think Abelard would not take it well. Or give me a reason I should continue listening to your advice. I think I'm going to go with number 2. I would be only too willing to trust my seneschal, not fill my head with such matters, but the situation had spiraled out of your control, Abelard. Abelard's face relaxes slightly. You're right, at least as concerns junior officers making complaints directly to you. And Abelard stands straight at attention. I lost my temper, Lord Captain, and I believe I ought to explain myself. Abelard speaks slowly, the words not coming easily to him. The prosperity of the von Valancius Protectorate is not just an empty phrase to me.
I left the Imperial Navy for a chance to see it flourish. It was the most momentous decision of my life. I did it because I saw in Lord Captain Theodora's deeds the sign of true greatness. Rogue traders do not simply forge new routes and capture worlds. They create order out of anarchy. That creative impulse was entirely lacking during my time in the military. So I left behind everything I had known, everything my family had known. I came from a long line of officers. I embarked upon this incredibly reckless venture, Lord Captain. Theodora entrusted me with all the concerns she had no time for. She would go off on her flagship for long periods, to distant frontiers, on scouting voyages, and the advancement of the entire Protectorate rested on my shoulders. And then suddenly, everything that had been built over years and years began to quake, rattling like a flimsy hanger on a seismically active world. One of the senior officers betrayed us all. The rogue trader was killed, and who knows what is happening on the planets. I tell you this honestly, without fear of appearing weak. All this has come as a grievous blow to me. I am not panicking or grieving because I cannot allow myself to panic or grieve. I am duty-bound to aid the new rogue trader, to aid you, to find your footing as quickly as possible. And to do that, I must insulate you from problems that in the past have been dealt with by tried and tested procedures set out in the ship's regulations. Procedures that were established long ago and have functioned smoothly for decades cannot suddenly be deemed excess to requirements. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Wow, a lot of choices. Theodora trusted in established procedures and she died. I won't make the same mistake. Again, I don't think that's going to go down well. I understand, but you need to learn how to respect me as your Lord Captain Rogue Trader. Accept it, start living in a new world where Theodora is gone. The prosperity of the Von Valancius Protectorate is just as important to me. You're the only person who has comprehensive knowledge of how things are run on the ship. I think in the future I will follow your recommendations. I value what Theodora created, and I trust that this situation is an aberration in the ship's otherwise smooth operation. Since the established procedures are working, I see no reason to change them. I've seen plenty of sentiment and hand-wringing in recent days, but very little competence. I have no plans to rely on your judgment or your tried and tested procedures in the future. Interesting. So I think it's really the last bit of the lines where we have to think about here. So it's stop living in the past, is specifically to Abelard. This is you and I will have to make new decisions to make. I will follow your recommendations. I see no reason to change them. I have no plans to rely on your judgment or your tried and tested procedures. Okay. How do we want to handle this? I kind of feel like number 4 is what I'm leaning towards. I kind of think number 2 is also there. I don't, yeah. I think I'm going to say number 4. I value what Theodora created, and I trust that the situation is an aberration in the ship's otherwise smooth operation. Since the established procedures are working, I see no reason to change them. Now, what I'm trying to avoid here is what you see in a lot of RPGs like this. And potentially this could be how they want you to go with things, and this could effectively be the iconoclast path that they've put before us. But in a lot of RPGs like this, you're tempted to come in and go, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign real world, like well, it's going to date the video, but 2023 logic to whatever is happening in this world. But that's not what we should be doing. What we should be doing is applying the logic that the character would have in this world to what is happening in this world. So our character, as far as we're aware, you know, he's got his crime background or whatever and running things background, but essentially Theodora had run this void ship for a very long time, and as far as I see it, from his perspective, the main issue is that she put a Master of Whisperers who actively wanted to harm her or a Master of Whispers who actively wanted to harm her in that position, right?
That, I think, is the main issue. The rest of the ship, as far as we're aware, was running fairly smoothly within this world's normal way of running things. So, or this setting's normal way of running things. So there is no real reason to change it. So I choose number 4. Abelard dips his head in a sign of assent. The shadow of incredible strain which had evidently been wearing on him for some time finally lifts from his face. I'm glad you see the value in the foundations laid down by your illustrious predecessor. Why fix what isn't broken? As for me, I shall endeavour not to cause you any further consternation, Lord Captain. Also, like, why fix what isn't broken? I mean, yeah, that's something where nowadays you could be like, well, because you could improve it. But, like, pretty much everything in 40k has been going on for millennium, right? Like, these are procedures handed down generation by generation, right? It's a different way of doing things. So, anyway. And now please, let us leave the lower decks. If the rogue trader desires to stretch his legs, there are far more suitable places. So I just noticed that this one's been steaming as well. That is not anything. Okay. I'm going to go try clicking on some of the vents. I've decided I'm too curious to not click on the vents. I really need to click on these vents. Oh, there's a door over here. Where does this go? To more valves? Okay. And a bunch of lower deck rabble who are currently taunted, apparently. Ooh, machine right set. Okay. Inside the box, a string of scratch letters run along the edge. Different first names, but the same surname. Looks like this box has been passed down in the family from generation to generation. You see, that's kind of what I'm meaning, right? Right? It's things have been passed down through generations. This isn't like, you know, things being like around for like 10 years. These are like procedures being around for, you know, thousands of years, potentially. Nothing is happening. Okay. I'm gonna keep just turning valves. Let's see what happens. How about this one? This one's got stuff happening next to it. Oh. Okay, how about this one? I turn this valve now.
Always keep your eye on the prize.
How about this valve? Okay. Good to know this doesn't hurt you. How about this valve? That does something. How about this valve then? Okay. Just go around clicking on valves. This seems to have stuff next to it. I think I said that previously, didn't I? Like 10 seconds ago. Just keep going around, keep clicking valves. What about this one?
I always have a backup plan.
I ought to say, this is very much in the not a puzzle part of a puzzle, right? Like, this is literally just clicking on things. So something changed from us clicking that valve, apparently. What along here? Are you meant to follow it? Like this one goes through here, down here, under here, through to here, round there. Oh, and then disappears. Never mind. So it's not that one then. Alright, let's just keep clicking valves at random. The one in here for us to press. I hope this doesn't lead to a fight, because that would be very funny having got to the point where none of our companions are here. I suppose we'll just have to let Abelard solo it if it does lead to a fight. Anything in here? No.
Is there money to be made?
We already did the vent in there. We done this vent again? Since we pressed that vent? No, maybe not. Perhaps turning a different valve would help. Okay.
Keep your wits about you.
Nope. This one!
Attention to detail is the key to success.
What did you spot this? Container can be seen beyond the massive bars. Perhaps examining the pipe will allow you to reach it. Oh, so we need to get it to open.
Rise to the top.
I see.
Or get left in the dust.
Okay. This one? I don't know, just keep pressing them. This one?
Always keep your eye on the price.
Back out this way. Oh, this one? Hey, we got it.
I always get the job done.
Force grenades, crack grenades, melta charges, and Malta keys. Oh, wonderful. Wait, what were they all doing hiding in the vent? Implications are interesting there. Also, we just leveled up, which is also interesting. Okay. Okay. We leveled up. Good. Can we level up everybody here? I think we can, right? I think you can access your full party from the bridge. Yeah. You can't see them at the top, but you can access your full party. Alright, well I guess we're going to level up instead then. Let's do some leveling up. You. New rank available. Talent. If the target of analyzed enemy or analyzed enemies has 2 or more exploits, the target suffers +1 additional exploit. Okay. That's pretty good. That was one I looked at previously, right? Yeah. Okay. Cool. We're just going to trust that our past self is good at that. We should probably just take a point in perception, right? Because that would give us an extra... That would put us up to 50 bonus in perception. The other option is going ballistic or weapon skill. Let's take the point in perception. It's what it recommends. Gives us better awareness, which is good for finding random things around the world. It also means we have equal best perception, which is interesting. Anyway, let's do that. Right. Now we do the thing where we do people who are operatives. So I'm going to do Adira first, because I know which one I want to take on her, because people have pointed it out. I'm going to take Psi rating 1. Now the reason I thought I couldn't get one is because she has 1 Psi rating, but that's because she is an unsanctioned psyker. So we can actually put her up to Psi rating 2. So we put her up to Psi rating 1, which is Psi rating 1 plus 1 because she's an unsanctioned psyker. So this is like really good for her. It gives her access to new potentially gives her access to new powers because she'll be Psi rating 2 for the purposes of picking new powers, which would be good. And it means that all of the abilities that are like times by your Psi rating will actually then start to multiply and be very, very, very good. Which might mean that they'd be worth using, which is definitely worth having a look at. Here, we're not improving her intelligence. Her intelligence is garbage. We're going to improve her perception. We're going to improve what she's good at. I don't know. We'll see how good a path that is. Operative. Okay. What are you going to take? Let's see what kind of stuff we have here. When operative attacks an enemy at full wounds, that attack deals 10 plus perception bonus % more damage. Yeah, otherwise known as not worth taking for him. Okay. The operative suffers 3 times 8 bonus % less damage from enemies affected by exploits. Maybe this one's worth taking at this point. All enemies should be affected by exploits on his turn, right? All enemies should be being affected by exploits on our turn, right? Because we both apply them to every enemy in combat. 3 times int bonus is 15% less damage. He's, in theory, never going to dodge anything, because his dodge is terrible. But he's going to have armor, which reduces the amount of damage he takes. This stacks with the armor, I assume? Which means he's going to take less damage, plus his armor. So let's just say he takes 15% less. So I don't know how it works. I don't know whether it stacks them or whether it does that, like... So 2 ways it could do the calculation. Let me explain it this way. It could do it. That is 35 plus 15, so you take 50% less. Or it could be you take 35% off, then you take 15% of that 35% off. Or like of what's remaining off. Which is obviously a lower number. Or it could do it the other way around. But essentially, it's worse if it does it the second way. But either way, I still think it's pretty good. Yeah. Let's take it. I think that seems good. Did I mark anything for him? No. Ooh, wait, these are new though. Are they? These mechadendrite ones at the bottom? I don't remember seeing them. Maybe these were limited by level or something previously? I don't know. Or maybe I just never scrolled down this far. Ooh, there's all sorts of things. Anyway, I think I'm still happy with the one I've chosen, so I'm going to go with it. But, maybe I never scrolled down there on him? That doesn't seem likely. Maybe previously we've only seen common talents on him or something? I don't know. And then here, I'm going to take... I don't really need to take perception on him. We're sticking that as a bad skill. It's weapon skill or ballistic skill. Let's improve his weapon skill. Let's say that that's probably where he's going to end up. Okay, cool. That seems fine. Right. Next, we'll do the warriors. Let's start with Abelard. New talent. Did I mark anything? Nope. Okay. Seeing what we got here. Let's see. Enemies suffer a minus 10% penalty to their hit chance of ranged weapons against the warrior for every enemy within a cell radius around him. Okay. When the warrior takes damage, they gain dodge equal to 5 plus 2 times their agi bonus. So that's going to be 13% dodge, and it stacks up to 3 times. So you could end up with a 39% dodge bonus. Okay, that puts him in Argenta territory. Could be worth it, just to like reduce the damage he's taking. This one I think fits in. I know I said he's not. I don't really like it because it's agi based, but this one fits in with our philosophy for him, which is everything we've been taking for him has been like tiny little reductions in actual damage he takes. Right? It's a little extra temporary health. It's a little extra temporary wounds here or there. Right? It's a reduction in damage here. It's a reduction in damage there. I think something like this fits in with that because it's like, okay, well, it might not be immediately useful, but maybe he dodges one attack. That one attack could maybe do 10 wounds worth of damage. Those 10 wounds over the course of a fight add up. It's worth thinking about. If you end your turn next to an enemy affected by the sworn enemy ability, the warrior gains 2 plus toughness bonus temporary wounds. Now that one is also very good. So that would give you 8 extra temporary wounds. Very nice. And especially if we use it in a situation where we're using it last fight, where we'd use it next to, say, a chaos spawn, you're just going to sit there and continually gain those temporary wounds and stop yourself taking a bunch of damage each and every turn. It's good. Let's see. Not agi. Not strength. Attacks of opportunity. Deal less damage to the warrior. No. If the warrior is not attacked this turn, they gain a bunch of armor. That's interesting, but I'd rather he just attacked in nearly every circumstance. Could give him 10% dodge. Don't think that's worth it. See, I don't think 10% dodge is worth it right now, but I think adding that 13% dodge every time your ranged attack shoots at him, I think that could be interesting. Okay. This one's interesting. When an Imperial world character is affected by an ally's non-damaging ability or affects an ally with such an ability, the resolve is increased by fell bonus divided by 2 for 1 round. Oh, it's only going to be 1. The reason I said it was interesting is that we now have somebody who's going to be applying things to him every single combat, every single turn. So it basically increases his resolve by 1, just indefinitely. Which is nice, but yeah. All allies, excluding Xenos, in the current party gain +5 to the same characteristic that was chosen for humanity's finest. That was your toughness. Yeah. That's not terrible, but I don't want to take it right now. All allies affected by brace for impact suffer only half damage from all attacks of opportunity. All allies affected by brace for impact gain 30% to cover penetration. The Navy officer also gains 15% permanently. Brace for impact also allows the Navy officer to use any ranged weapon in threatened areas, knocks enemies prone, and pushes them one cell away. Or all allies affected by brace for impact gain an extra turn of 0 AP and 3 MP, and increase their cover efficiency by 20% for 1 round. That was interesting as well. Okay. Oh, and then what's the skill that he's only... Carouse is the one that only he's good at. I'm just going to do a couple of clicks here just so I can see it. You know. Just worth remembering it exists. Let's head up here. I'm going to take Invigorating Hatred. Wait, am I? No, I'm going to take Defensive Maneuvers. I think that's the one I want first. Yeah. I think that's going to be good. I don't know. We'll see. And then Medicae. Out of these ones. Right? He's not going to be our demolition guy. His agility is not high enough, and we have Argenta currently. Coercion, he's not going to be our guy for that, so Medicae. It's the obvious choice, in my eyes. Heinrich's talent. What are we going to take for you? Ramming speed was what I clicked previously. Increases your charge distance. That was because if he charges over a certain length, yeah, it deals extra damage. Why does that say it's plus 0? Toughness plus strength bonus. It's just not calculating it. So it'll do 9 when it's done over a certain distance. I like increasing that. I think that could end up interesting. Blade of Light makes his force weapon better, but that'll be better later. The later we go, that'll be even better. Let's take ramming speed. It's what Past Me decided, so I must be correct. Past Me couldn't be wrong. Here, we could take more Lore Xenos. I love that it just says Argenta is minus 170. The problem with taking more Lore Xenos is that we now have 2 people who are better than him at it, so it's kind of like, okay. And they're better at him even with the plus 10. Medicae lets him be able to heal, which is useful. Although has he already got some Medicae bonus? No. So it would allow him to be able to heal, which is nice. Carouse. Make him the second best. It could be good if we ever decided to take Abelard out the party for whatever reason. Currently, I don't see why we would do that. But it could potentially be something that we do in the future. I think having the ability to heal is useful. And I think that the fact that medikits don't actually require a test... They just require, like, to do just a straightforward heal. They just require you to have a single point in it. It means, like, why would you not take it if you just want to be able to use a kit, right? Like, this is basically just 1 point buy to be able to use a kit to heal yourself if you need to. I think that seems useful. I don't know, maybe I'm overvaluing the kits, but it seems like that is useful. Alright, did I select anything for Argenta? No. Okay. First reload in combat does not cost AP is kind of huge. After the soldier deals damage to 3 different enemies, they gain bonuses to ballistic skill, more damage for the next attack in the current combat. Reach adjacent ally. No. Whenever the soldier deals damage, their critical damage is increased by 1%. I think that's actually really good because we're also stacking our critical chance all the time with Revel in Slaughter. Yeah, I think these 2 are really good. Just go for a quick scan here. Yeah, no. First hit of each burst attack deals additional damage equal to the weapon's current rate of fire. Okay, so +4 for most of it. Although, wait. Anyway, we'll go and have a look at something in a second. Soldier's second attack action in a turn deals 5 plus 2 times agi% more damage to enemies that have not suffered damage from soldier this turn. While the soldier is full cover against an enemy, the soldier gains 10% damage against that enemy. An enemy's attacks deal 20% less against the soldier and their cover if the cover is present at the moment when the shot is fired. Okay. While the soldier is an ally adjacent to them, controlled shot costs 1 less AP to use. That's kind of nice. Medium armor does not reduce dodge, not right now, but like in the future. Each shot gives you agility till the end of your next turn. Weird. A single point of agility is just an odd one. You have a bunch of stuff down here, none of which ever seems to be that good, or like that exciting to me. I like rapid reload. I think using less AP to do the first reload means that you can constantly be firing, which means you can constantly be getting kills, which is better than fired up, because then you can get revel and slaughter. Yeah. And then here, what are we doing? Oh wait, is this another talent? Oh, it is. Wait, which one did I select in? There was the one I selected in here? Wait, go back a second. Not fired up. Though I'm struggling to click on that for some reason. Not second skin. I guess I didn't click on any of these. That's fine. Right. Nimble 10% extra dodge isn't terrible. Seeing what we got down here. Bell bonus stuff. We don't really have anybody who's really fellowship heavy as far as I'm aware. Could go into demolitions, but she's got very good demolitions anyway. Gives you extra wounds. I think nimble is okay. I think extra movement points is also alright. I think either swift movements or nimble. Like ability to get into a better position or ability to dodge more. Maybe we just go even further into dodge. Just give me 10% dodge. Cool. Right. And with that, we've leveled up. And we have gone absolutely nowhere. So, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.